All right, so this is going to be my review of Silver Surfer Black. This was a comic that I got, I've been wanting to get for a while. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to grab this. So Silver Surfer Black is another book by Donny Cates, probably one of my favorite writers at Marvel. Hopefully he gets, for those who are unaware, and I've talked about this before, is that he suffered a car wreck that basically knocked out, like, I think 6 months of his memory, and it left him with some neurological issues that he's recovering from. So hopefully he gets, he comes back to doing comics again at some point. But, speaking of someone who's had his own kind of major injuries, I get it. You take as much time as you can, man. But yeah, so Silver Surfer Black was part of the story that Donny was building up to in King of Black, but also kind of a spin-off miniseries for his brief Guardians of the Galaxy run. Yeah. So if you guys remember in Thanos Wins, I talked about how Silver Surfer had, Norrin Radd had like an all-black iridescent like body, and this basically explains why that happened. So in here, we follow up with what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy #1. In that comic, I gotta do more explaining. So in that comic, Thanos was dead, and the who the fuck are they called? The Black Order. Took me a moment to remember. The Black Order arrived, took Thanos' body, and they unleashed like this black hole bomb that tried to suck in several cosmic heroes who were at the hearing of the last will and testament of Thanos. But in that story, several of the Guardians, the members, one of them being Beta Ray Bill, who would be members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Surfer managed to save them as well as everyone else who was sucked into the black hole, even though they were kind of lost throughout time and space. Surfer, however, got thrown all the way to the beginning of the universe with no way of finding a way to get back home. So in here, this leads him to coming in a young universe. This leads to him coming in contact and into conflict with Null, god of the symbiotes. So, first and foremost, guys, Tradd Moore's artwork. It is peak. And it's kind of a crime that this book never got like a double-sized issue. Like it's very much, I feel like it's a war crime, really, that this comic never got like a full-on like double-sized book. 'Cause look at this. Look how good this fucking is. Like how Moore does like landscapes and like body posture. And look how he makes Ego look. So, using moons as eyes. That's really cool. So Tradd Moore's artwork is kind of the major selling point of the book. That is what it is that Moore's Donny Cates even knows that Tradd Moore's artwork is the reason why you're picking up this book. He is well aware of that's the main selling point of the book. So he kind of keeps dialogue very minimal for most places. Yes, there are places with big pieces of word bubbles, but like it's very much like watching, it's kind of like a Stan Lee, Jack Kirby thing where Cates is like, Tradd basically, I feel like Tradd drew the comic first, and then Cates came in and did all the word bubbles. That's what it really feels like to me, is that was kind of the idea. This also is this comic is very much Cates's like tribute to Stan Lee. They do reference, there's even like a for Stan at the end of this book, and there's also like an afterthought of like Cates talking about like the first time he met Stan Lee, and Lee himself, even though he loved all of his characters, it was kind of obvious that Silver Surfer was the one character he liked to write the most. Even though he loved Spider-Man and all them, the Surfer was kind of that character that allowed him to like wax poetically and do stuff like that. So in here, in this comic, Surfer is still feeling like, yeah, I've killed thousands of people. It's kind of like, yes, we have kind of done, this is kind of stuff we've seen with Surfer before, where it's like, yeah, I've killed thousands of people before, and I feel sad about it. But here, it's like, Surfer's now in an unknown territory. No one's coming to help him. No one is there to save him, and he has to save himself from arguably the most evil being in the universe at the moment. Null is terrifying, and yeah, they're even like kind of like easily, they kind of retcon in that that Surfer had encountered Null before when he was a Herald of Galactus, and yeah, they like, this comic is pretty straightforward. It's Surfer trying to get back to the present time, but now he has to, you know, encounter Null, and at the same time you're wondering, why is it called Silver Surfer Black? Well, that's because Surfer has burned most of his power from him, and he's basically, this kind of black iridescence is covering his body slowly. It represents like the darkness that is kind of consuming Norrin the longer he's here, like all of that anger he's built up and like trying to bury all these centuries, and it's just slowly like eking out of him. So now Norrin is basically covered in the very darkness that has, you know, that he has been fighting within himself for so long. And eventually, and I gotta say, Black Surfer, really cool look. I love, like, it's not just like a, she's just all black. There's like I love the iridescence. It adds more texture and color to the character. Like it adds a lot of like it adds like a little extra oomph to it, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So, do I recommend Silver Surfer Black? Yeah. I will say that it does kind of, like, a lot of Cates' Marvel work did take a lot of reading from other stuff because he was very close-knit in his own books. So, you might have to read, like, at least get caught up on at least the first issue of Guardians of the Galaxy to at least, like, that would be it. Like, issue 1 of Guardians of the Galaxy, and then you're all caught up with, and then you can read this. But I would say, even without, now that I think about it, even without, you could still read this book, no problem. And again, the major selling point is Tradd Moore's artwork. It's beautiful. Like, look at that. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That is my review of Silver Surfer Black. If you guys read it, comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.